Against what they call straw purchasers, people who knowingly buy firearms for convicted criminals who are barred from buying their own weapons. What are the chances of this passing?
I think that's excellent. There's so many pieces of this bill that we do need. It has to be comprehensive. But the whole idea that someone has a criminal intent when they're transferring a firearm to somebody that can't get a firearm, I think that's going to be one of the easiest things to get over.
So that's an easy one. President Obama kicked off his gun control campaign in Minneapolis, where he also stressed the need for universal background checks. Congressman Dick Ringo, one of the co-sponsors of the gun trafficking bill, voiced concerns over that proposal, though. So let me play that for you.
If we're going to move to some type of universal registration and connecting gun owners with the guns themselves and a database and all that, I'm going to have some problems with that.
A recent poll found, I'm sure you've seen these numbers, an overwhelming number of Americans, 92%, favor expanding background checks, but you hear that there are congressmen who are against it. The NRA has been very vocal in its opposition. What are the chances that gets done?
I think it's very good because of the nature of what we're talking about. We're talking about a very dangerous weapon, far more serious than getting a car license for a dangerous weapon, as sometimes automobiles and trucks are called. And so I think that people don't mind the inconvenience, if you will. If someone wants to have a firearm, put your name down and say who you are, and make certain that we at least prohibiting or preventing, or at least trying to prevent people who have mental illness from getting a dangerous weapon. I don't think that's going to be the problem. We're going to have major problems with the culture of people that just like to use a gun for recreational purposes, and overcoming the need for having an assault weapon to do this, to have fun and to hunt animals. That's going to be a major problem. But the two that you mentioned, Chris, we can get over that, whether we're talking about our inner cities or whether we're talking about our rural and suburban areas. I think we're coming together on common agreement.
Well, let's talk a little more about the push for a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines. Here's what the president had to say about that.
We should restore the ban on military-style assault weapons and a 10-round limit for magazines. And that deserves a vote in Congress, because weapons of war have no place on our streets or in our schools or threatening our law enforcement officers.
And in fact, over on the Senate side, Harry Reid has said the same thing. Even though he has not given overwhelming support to these ideas, he said they deserve an up and down vote. Is that going to happen? And do you give any chance on passing the assault weapons ban or the limit on the size of magazines?
I have to be optimistic there. There's a thing about being attached to a weapon that automatically is firing, and it has nothing to do with sportsmanship. I have been in combat. I've had automatic weapons. Sometimes the weapon almost takes you over with the rapid fire that's involved here. It has nothing to do with killing animals, if that's what people want to do. It has nothing to do with sportsmanship. And being able to have these clips that are over 10 rounds, you tell me, what fun is it going to be denied because people have to change clips? We know why we're doing it. We know the number of people are killed in the process of having to change clips. And so I think that even though there may be an attachment to the automatic feeling of having a weapon, common sense will dictate that there's no need for Americans to have that in order to have fun.
That does seem to be the president's approach. I mean, he has had some success in getting out there and doing these campaign-style trips where he goes out and he makes his case to the American people. But there is such strong opposition, as you say, by people who like to use guns for sport, and of course by the NRA. And there's been a lot of debate about whether their influence has waned. They certainly show no signs of backing off. How much can the president influence this debate, Congressman?
He can, because a lot of us that have never gone hunting have a deeper respect now for people that enjoy this as a sport. And going out to the American people is the only way to break down this logjam that we have with party unity. It's time that America put our country above party politics and break out of this line if that's what the leader wants. And so the president is going saying, do you want to preserve the safety of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, or do you want to follow the NRA, where clearly they're in the business of selling guns and making profits? I think the president's doing a magnificent job, and he's going to have to continue.
New York Congressman Charles Rangel, always a pleasure to have you on.